already deducted your salary, wages, tax. You've already calculated your GST. How are you going to pay to the IRC once you've already collected? So this session is going to take you through that process, actually paying what you've already collected to the IRC. So let's make welcome our next presenter, Ms. Caroline Onato.
Once again, good morning all. I'd like to welcome you all to the next presentation. As our MCF stated, it's all about payments. I'd like to take this time to welcome the viewers who are viewing online, live on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, whichever platform online you are using, you're most welcome. Let's get straight into our presentation. My presentation overview lineup. Presentation focus, objectives, methods of payments, issues on hand, importance of payment requirements, benefits of paying tax, and how you can get help with your payment queries. Objective. I will be introducing to you the various methods of tax payments that is done in IRC. IRC would also want to offer simpler and efficient payment support systems to taxpayers. To build and strengthen effective, reliable tax services nationwide. And of course, with the tax payments that you will be doing, is to develop our nation, Papua New Guinea. Types of method of payments used in IRC. Certified bank checks, government checks. In the course of my presentation, I will be elaborating further the types of payment methods, so please pay close attention. CATS credit transfers, FPOS, online transfers. Under online transfers, we also have options there. We also introduced direct transfer, bill pay, and MyIRC portal. Number one is the bank check or government checks. We no longer issue personal checks. If you are coming to pay tax payments using your personal company checks, we no longer accept that. We're trying to avoid as much as possible the dishonest checks and bounce checks. That's the reason why I will encourage every one of you taxpayers, if you are doing your tax payments, please, you can obtain bank checks. Go to your nearest branches and ask them to issue a bank check, pay to IRC. And at the moment, we are only accepting government checks. The next payment method is FPOS. All IRC provincial centers, our terminals have been connected. So wherever you are, you can use your debit cards to swipe on the FPOS machine available to do your tax payments. The next one is the CATS credit transfer. This is a manual transfer that you will get assistance from the banks. So whichever commercial banks that you are presented to do your direct manual transfer, this is the form that will enable you to transfer the funds from your account to IRC account. So this would be the form. I would like to emphasize a bit on the information payment requirements. So on this form, once you fill up the required informations, your account name, phone contact, whatever necessary information that is needed, the key mandatory information that IRC would require to capture your payment would be the triple T, which is TIN, tax type, tax period. So that is how it is populated. You can see there, after you include all the required information, where the transaction description, this is the required information and a mandatory information the IRC would require from you taxpayers. That is the triple T, as I have stated, which is your TIN, your tax type, and the tax period. No any other information must be indicated on the transaction description. I will clarify that in the course of my presentation. And the online payment options, for those of you who have already gone through or used this service, this is a familiar screen. On your BSB online business banking screen, you will see the client number, username, and your password. After inputting all the credentials, once you log in, it will take you to the next screen, which is transfer money. So under the transfer money screen, you will have all the information filled up. And this is a direct transfer from your account to IRC bank account. So the required field that I would like to emphasize is the BSB code, which is 121001. Without this BSB code, your transaction will not be completed. So just take note of this BSB code when you are doing a direct transfer from your account to IRC admin account. So after filling up your account number and your amount, again, your description must be the triple T. All throughout my presentation, this mandatory information will be always there because I will give you the reason why. Once you complete all the information, it will take you to the transfer confirmation screen. On the transfer confirmation screen, you will see all the information that you have included. Again, that information must be clearly indicated when you are confirming your transaction. That is the direct transfer facility. Another online facility that we also introduced, or we are encouraging our taxpayer, is the bill pay. Under the bill pay, same as the direct transfer screen, after the bill pay transaction, you will see on the left-hand corner on your right, there's a bill pay option there. Just click on there, it will take you straight to the bill pay screen. So you will just key in whatever necessary information that is required, and then the biller code. Take note of the biller code. It will require you to put the biller code number, which is 11628. Again, when all informations are filled, your description field must be this information that the triple T is required. So that is the payment confirmation screen. Again, the mandatory requirement is there. That is our payment, the types of payment methods that is used in IRC. We are also exploring other payment methods so that we can at least bring effective payment services to our taxpayers, so that when due dates fall, which you've already known about them during the course of the week, our presenters have presented to you guys, we, as much as possible, trying to give services that is suitable to our taxpayers so that wherever, even in the remotest areas, they still can do their tax payments. So IRC is still exploring payment options, and we are exploring the mobile banking payment option. So that is one of the working in progress option that we would introduce in the near future. Yes, with all the payment options that I have just presented to you, we do have issues on hand. And I would like to make known to everyone of the issues that we are faced with, especially with the payments that the taxpayers are paying to IRC. So there are so many payments issues that we encounter, but I would like to just indicate, highlight only two main issues that we are facing. So when payments are remitted to IRC, but those payments cannot be processed or receipted. Why? Because payments are not accompanied by the tax returns. So when you are making a payment, your payment slip must be accompanied by your tax return. I will elaborate further in the course of my presentation why. Another main issue that we are facing into verifying the tax payments, payments remitted to IRC are not identified. It can be a tax payment, but when it is remitted to IRC in our bank accounts, we are unable to identify those transactions. So these are the main issues or challenges that we are facing with the payments the taxpayers are giving us. Examples: payments are not accompanied by tax returns. These are just examples extracted from our bank statements. So you will see on the column number 3, you have your we receive informations like this. So you will see that there is a TIN indicated there, and a tax period, and the tax type. On the next row, you will see just one of the random numbers, maybe a receipt number, and hair limited. We do not know which tax type it is for. So we still rely on the tax return to confirm as to what type of tax type is this payment for. So this is very important. So long as you are indicating the mandatory description form, that we can clearly identify your tax type. Without the mandatory description form that I have just highlighted earlier, without those informations, your payment will never be receipted. So it will be just there until you yourself will come to us and tell us that I haven't received my payment receipt. That's when we will start capturing those payments into our tax system. Another issue, payments not identified. These are some of the examples that I extracted. You will see on the third column again under unidentified payments. The description is just cat's high value received. We do not know whether this is a tax payment or this is some random payments that came through, but I believe these are tax payments, just that the informations are not being filled up correctly. So the other information you will see there, GST February, October 2020. We do not know which taxpayer it is for. That is the reason why I would always emphasize your mandatory description, your TIN, tax type, tax period is very important for us to identify your payments. Yes, of course, importance of payments requirements. There you go again. The triple T, TIN, tax type, tax period. So long as you give us the correct information, the payment requirement, we will receive your payment on a timely manner. And two, payments that we are unable to identify, with these informations that I have just highlighted, we will clearly identify it. Even if you don't, if you are delaying in submitting your tax returns, so long as we have these informations provided to us, we will go ahead receiving your payment while waiting for your tax return. You may be wondering, I'm paying a lot of taxes. What am I benefiting out of paying these taxes? Benefits of paying taxes, free education. So we are all parents. We take our children to schools. We go queue up, and then we pay project fees. You think project fee is a school fee? Answer me. It is not a school fee. Definitely, it's a free education. It's not coming from anywhere. It's coming from your payment, your tax payment, and you are benefiting from those services. So I would encourage, for those of you choose to become a businessman, businesswoman, paying tax is not a burden, it's a responsibility. So you choose to become a businessman, you need to fulfill your tax obligations. Yes, of course, better healthcare, maintenance of roads and bridges, other developments you see throughout the country is all because of you faithfully paying your taxes. If you are riding on a bumpy road, you complain, you blame yourself, I blame myself, maybe because I'm not paying enough tax. The benefit of paying tax is to ensure that everyone in the community enjoys the services provided by the government. It is my responsibility and your responsibility as the citizens of Papua New Guinea to faithfully pay our taxes. bridge for maintenance. Recall back to your province and you see what are things that need to be developed. This is one of the random photos that I just captured from the internet. Fallen bridges for maintenance. When you pay your taxes, what happened? Thank you. Now you're talking. Bridge infrastructure. You see what's happening? It's all because of your money. Not from any money. You saying that government no work him work, but on na work him work suppose you no work him work. So that's bridge infrastructure there. You pay the money and you will see development surrounding us. Road infrastructure. Those are some of the developments happening around us. Places that is beautified in the provinces and in the city. It's all because of you paying your tax faithfully. So in the GST presentation, which my colleague just presented, especially for those of us who are not in the salary and wage bracket, when you go to the shop and you pay a rice and tin fish, you are contributing to the nation. So that money is supplementing the bigger portion of the tax that is developing our country. So if you want more developments, pay more tax and make more businesses. So I would like to welcome you all. Feel free to come and get the account number from me, or you can get a screenshot. Internal Revenue Commission, account number 431465777, Bank of Papua New Guinea. So that's account number there. Like from the payment methods that I have just introduced to you, with the BILA codes and BSB code, you can transact funds from any bank. It does not restrict it to just one bank. So you can use the cash transfer if you are doing a manual transfer, and with the online you can use the BSB and BILA code. So wherever you are, whichever bank, it will still hit this account. Yes, you can see there, paying tax is not punishment, it's a responsibility. So it's not a burden. You choose to become a businessman, I choose to become a business lady, I must meet my tax obligation, and that is to pay my tax. The more you pay your tax, the more I pay my tax, we will see major developments in our country. So, if you have issues with your payments, this is the default email address, payments@irc.gov.pg, and we also have other emails there, sectors@irc.gov.pg, lodgements@irc.gov.pg, payments@irc.gov.pg. So these are the default email addresses. If you are having issues with your payments, lodgements, or whatsoever, contact these powerful people. They will be helping you online. Or if you have any issues, just call any of the IRC officers' front desk and you will be assisted accordingly. That is all for my presentation, and thank you for listening attentively. I will now invite the IRC portal to come and present to us MyIRC. Thank you. And after that, we can get your questions or comments.
Thank you very much. All right, good Good morning, everyone. My name's Jason. I form part of a team at the IRC and externally that is responsible for the logos that you're seeing all around the area here, which is MyIRC. And a few of you might have already dipped your toes into utilising the system or registering. And today I'm going to give you an overview about what MyIRC is, what are the goals, what's the future hold, what's available now to everyone. Okay, how is this system built for you guys? Okay, small businesses, sole traders, individuals. How to get started? I'm going to show you registration, how to make a payment, and we're in the midst in the next couple of months of actually launching online lodgements, which is a first for the country as well. And I'll show you how to get involved in that. And at the very end, yeah, questions. Okay, so we'll jump straight into it. Just a show of hands, how many, the group here, most of you have been in the previous couple of days of sessions, is that correct? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so on the last couple of days, you've talked about TIN registration, calculations of GST, submitting your forms and things like that. My IRC is to make the communication between yourselves and the IRC, the actual interaction itself, as easy as possible. Okay, and so I'm going to digress a bit. I'm going to show a map. Sorry, wrong way. So this map that you see on the screen is all of the IRC's offices. Now, I'm not 100% sure how accurate this is, but it's pretty up to date. So this is all of the IRC offices around town. Okay, so when you're submitting documents in person, you're submitting them to one of these areas. Okay, and now next slide, I'm going to show you the coverage currently for B Mobile Telecom for internet coverage in PNG, and the next slide is actually Digicel. Whoops, we've skipped ahead too much. So this is the coverage for Digicel. And so what am I getting at? MyIRC is a digital platform. It is accessible at irc.gov.pg. So any phone with an internet connection can get access to this platform. Okay, it's accessible actually worldwide, not just in PNG. Anyone in the world, even if you're traveling, wherever there is internet access, you can access this system. So whatever the things I'm about to show you, just remember that you can access these on a phone, you can access these on a laptop, a friend's laptop, a one-top's laptop, whatever. Okay, so there are four main pillars for MyIRC and what the value it brings to you guys, okay? Which is, the first thing is accessibility to information, okay? So irc.gov.pg, the social and the technical teams, the digital team at IRC is doing a phenomenal job, as I'm sure you would probably all agree. You're seeing in the last couple of years, you've seen IRC with a very active social media presence, whether that be LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. And if you haven't already, if you do use one of those platforms such as Facebook, I would encourage everyone to follow the IRC page because they're very active at providing updates. Okay, so there are a few different places to find information or to receive the most up-to-date information on what's going on at the IRC. The first port of call will always be irc.gov.pg. Okay, so my IRC can be seen as the digital front counter for the IRC. Okay, and again, this is accessible. This information is accessible to you wherever there is a basic internet connection. I'm not talking, internet 4G internet connection in town. Just a basic 3G internet connection is more than enough. So access to information and clear, concise information is also key. Okay. In the past, if you have gone to the website, and even currently, there is a lot of information on the website that might seem a bit confusing. Well, I'm here to say that the IRC team are working on that. Okay, they're basically working on revamping from the ground up all of the information presented on their web pages, on their website, to make it as easy as possible for you to find anything on SBT, whether it be you're paying SWT, GST, calculations, things like that. The idea is you can just go to irc.gov.pg and you can find that information very, very quickly. The second pillar of MyIRC and what it's trying to solve and what value it brings you is that interaction between yourselves and IRC. Okay, so a lot of the interactions at the moment, especially in the regional areas, are in person. You have to go wait in line. I know of many scenarios where people are waiting in line for almost a day, and that's not just in the regional areas. That's here as well, and that's for various reasons. That's, you know, recently it's been COVID. You know, there's been lockouts and things like that. But the idea with MyIRC is it's online 24/7, 365 days a year. You can submit your documents, you can make your payments at 1 a.m. in the morning if you want to, if that's what you like to do. But the idea is that digital service delivery, anything that you do at a front counter, eventually you should be able to do from a mobile phone. Okay, and a mobile phone extension on a desktop, tablet, anything that has an internet connection. So that's the sort of vision for MyIRC. Now, the third pillar is integrity of data. Okay, and I won't go into too much, but basically, the IRC want to make sure that the data they're holding, you know, the submissions that you put in, the lodgements, are always accurate. They're kept in fantastic condition. Documents never go missing. Paper-based documents, wherever it might be, have a tendency. You know, ink on paper only lasts so long. You know, that's just the nature of paper and ink. But digital systems, that data can last forever. And the idea with MyIRC is to put your data in your hands. Okay, so you register an account, and I'll go through that shortly, but you register an account, and that is your window into the IRC where you get control over your information. You can send information and you can receive information securely from the IRC. Okay. Now, the fourth pillar, very important, okay, is for those who are already interacting with the IRC on a day-to-day basis. Of course, you know, I've heard stories, and we all know processing times can sometimes be an issue. We're aware of that. The purpose of MyIRC is to help streamline that by creating digital processes where we can control the way that things are being submitted. A bit like Caroline was talking about the bank transfers, and if you put the wrong information on a bank transfer, it causes a delay in processing. We can make sure through the online system that is not an issue and that things can be processed relatively quickly. So the speed, once lodgements are turned online, and if you make a payment today, you will expect a faster processing time just by the nature of it already being digital rather than a paper-based system where you have your lodgement and you have to hand it in and then an officer has to read that. Okay, so 4 key pillars. All right, so just so everyone's aware, for those who haven't been on the website or who have not heard about MyIRC at all, it actually launched back in, I think it was December 17th last year. So it's nearly almost been a year, and since then we've seen a phenomenal amount of uptake, a phenomenal amount of people utilising the system, taxpayers utilising the system, and I wanted to share a bit of the progress that our team has made. So in that time, we've seen 2,200, I think it's just a bit over that now, about 2,200 people, taxpayers in PNG, have registered, got in the system, verified their identity, and are interacting with the IRC now through this portal. Okay, so pretty impressive stuff. We get approximately 1,100 to 1,500, 1,500 people visiting the irc.gov.pg website every single day of the week. That's the weekends as well. So quite a phenomenal amount of people trying to find the information they need. And as I said, over time, the information on the website will become easier for you to view, to download, to access, and things like that. So that number will only go up. One of the things that MyIRC enables is for you to communicate one-on-one with officers at a time that's convenient for you. You can submit something at any time and you can receive a response in normal business hours, but you can submit at any time. And effectively, in the last 10 months, IRC have processed about 1,400, so 1,400 inquiries and feedback and complaints all through the online system. Okay, so phone calls, absolutely, they are effective. You know, Caroline's talked about the ways that you can contact IRC with emails and phone calls, and you can show up as well. But again, in IRC fashion, we're trying to give you as many options as possible. And another option to contact officers is directly through this platform. So, and we're seeing a pretty steady uptake of the system from all sorts of people. So both, all the way at the top end of town when you've got the large, the tax agents and things like that, all the way through to the individuals and sole traders. About half of those registered users on the system at the moment are individual sole traders. Okay, so quite, some of the biggest benefits of this system are for individuals and sole traders and small businesses that might not have the capital and resources to send a dedicated person down to submit papers or have a dedicated tax agent or things like that. This allows for a lot easier access and interactions with the IRC. All right, so enough talking about that. Let's talk about what's available to you right now. Okay, so if you were to sign up to irc.gov or MyIRC today, go to irc.gov.pg. What has been achieved and what can you do? So just to show as a show of hands, has anyone actually registered on MyIRC yet? Okay, so not many. That's all right. That's good. I know who I'm talking with. So the registration, quick and easy. I'm going to take you through that process. Okay, individuals, businesses, and partnerships can all register on the system. Now, tax agents can also register. They've got a different pathway, but that's a different kettle of fish altogether. So digital identity verification is also available on MyIRC. So when it comes to lodgements and things like that, the IRC know who they're dealing with. Instant card-based payments. Okay, so Caroline's talked about bank transfers and and point of sale. Point of sale, it might seem instant because you swipe your card, but the time it takes for you to actually travel down to where a terminal is and then swipe your card, that's technically the transfer time, if you will. So, and the bank transfers, depending on which bank you're transferring from, a BSB to BSB might be instant or something, or same day. But if it's from another bank, it might be next day. So there's a lag time there as well. The MyIRC system allows you to make payments using Visa, MasterCard, China Union Pay, and I'll go through all of this in detail shortly. And even local cards such as the Kina Bank Handy Card, ANZ Bank Card, like actual local cards themselves outside of the schemes as well. So instant payments online available right now. Now, I watched a session the other day that went, I think it might have been yesterday, and someone asked a question on certificate of compliance lookups. We actually, our team have introduced a certificate of compliance lookup tool recently, which allows, TIN lookup tool, where it actually allows you to type in a TIN number and get the validity of that entity, see if they're tax compliant immediately. And I will show you that tool as well in today's demo. Single point of communication, I touched on that before. The idea is there is a full support center for yourselves to utilize if you want to. If you want to sit at home and communicate with the IRC, you can do that effectively by registering on MyIRC as well. And again, as I mentioned before, irc.gov.pg is the single source of truth. The information that you find on there, we are updating basically every day. Alfred and the socials and marketing team are doing, and the webmaster team are doing a phenomenal job at updating that. All right, so how do we get started? So I'll just go to the first slide, which is, if it works. All right, so for those who haven't been to the new website, show of hands who have been to the irc.gov.pg website. Okay, so what you're looking at is the desktop version of the new website or branding of the IRCs. This is sort of the say the front counter of the website in the digital space. Okay, and I think that's a news item of today's session. So one of the things that Caroline touched on was important information, like communicating when things are due. So one of the first things that you can see, if you just look at the very bottom of the screen there, you'll actually see key tax dates. Okay, remembering this all comes back to the IRC wanting you to have a single source of truth. Okay, single source of truth, irc.gov.pg. Failing that, the team always are posting to socials like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter when things are due as well. But you can always be certain that your due dates, if you go to the key tax dates on the IRC website, you will always find the ones coming up. Okay, so I can see one on the 7th of October, 21st of October, SWT, GST, whatever it might be. It's all going to be there, and especially important events and things like that will all be on the website as well. Up the top, you've got your main sort of navigation. That's pretty standard, but the idea is we've broken that up into sort of a logical flow where you can find if you're an SBT, if you're interested in SBT, you can find that easily just by going to taxes and SBT, and then you can find the information you're looking for. One of the most powerful things that anyone can do if you're not really keen on clicking around and trying to find your information, you can actually just go up into the search bar. Okay, I recommend everyone to use that. If it's anything that you're looking for, just type in a keyword, whether it be GST, making a payment, how do I do this, how do I do that, type it in up in that search bar and it will show you all of the relevant results for that. Okay, so really powerful feature. Okay, so I encourage everyone, if possible, to who has access to a device like this, to jump on IRC and have a look around. Let us know your thoughts. Okay. All right, so I've just scrolled down a little bit on the website itself, and we have an area called popular topics. Now, that's where most people find what they're looking for very fast. Okay, so some of the main things that you need to do, whether it be making a payment, information about taxes, getting started, my online services, checking the validity of, and I've just circled a couple here of some of the most prominent ones for today's discussion anyway, for checking a certificate of compliance, making a payment. And again, this is making a payment, which is additional to the payment methods that have been presented by Caroline as well. And you can always download tax forms and things like that quite easily. The COC tool, very powerful for those who receive or are doing businesses with other businesses, or for whatever reason you need to know the tax compliance or the certificate of compliance status of another entity. There is a tool, and if I go back, one slide. Again, this is on the main front web page of the IRC. Just tap on the check validity of a certificate of compliance down there at the bottom, and that'll take you to a screen where all you have to do is type in the TIN number of the entity that you're looking up. Now, not all entities, not all TIN numbers have or are required to have certificates. Some are exempt, and it will show you if they're exempt or not. Basically, this is a very quick and convenient way for you to have a look at the status of an entity, okay, and it shows you the results instantly, whereas previously you had to phone up or email in and get that response. So that's just a small little tool that we've been working on and is live today. Now, one of the other exciting things which sort of plays into the things that have been covered off over the last couple of days, especially when it comes down to GST calculations, SWT calculations, whatever it might be. We're in preliminary phases at the moment. We're in final testing of our first calculator that we're putting online to make it easier for individuals and taxpayers to perform their own calculations. And this is just a small example of the salary and wages tax calculator, where you put in the number of dependents, whether or not if they're a resident, they can have dependents. If they're a non-resident, they can't. But basically, you put the variables in there, the amount of their salary, and it will spit out exactly and this is a simple tax calculator, I must add. So this will spit out the appropriate SWT tax, and we are in the process of providing as many tools as possible to yourselves, so that it's only a matter of just going to irc.gov.pg, clicking on tax tools, and then you should get a list of tax tools to calculate anything that you need to. Okay, so make things very, very simple. And not only that is I can use this tool and I can send myself the results via email if I want. I can send them to a friend. I can send them to an employee, whatever it might be. Very, very simple, and I can download them as a PDF too to keep them for later reference. Okay. Now, MyIRC, which is, I guess, the meat of things, is how do we get started? So MyIRC, it's an account-based system. Okay, so we need to know who you are. That means that we need 3 key things from you. You're going to need an email address. Okay. Now, for those who don't have an email address, I would highly recommend it because it's exactly that. It's your electronic mail address. Okay. There are very reputable vendors out there, such as Microsoft Outlook, Google Gmail, and Yahoo Mail as well. So you can sign up to any free mail account. You don't have to have a business email or anything like that to register on this system. So you need an email address because we need to be able to contact you. We need to be able to send you messages, notifications, payment receipts, things like that, okay? And we can do that through MyIRC. The second thing you're going to need is once you have registered a TIN, we need your TIN number, okay? So MyIRC, for the moment, is only available to those with a TIN number, okay? But in the future, that will change where you can register an account regardless of if you have a TIN, and that's later down the track, but that will be happening. The third thing you do need is a secure password. Okay, so it's not good enough to have password 123 or your first name 123 or anything like that. You need a bit of a secure password, and that is because the account that you're creating on MyIRC is your account. Okay, it's your window into the IRC. It's your information. It's your data. And it's also your responsibility to keep your account information secure, from an access point of view. If someone knows your password and your email, then it means they can log into your account. Okay, so strong password, email, TIN number, 3 things, and you can get started. Now, MyIRC has 4 different account types at the moment. The 4th one isn't relevant for today. That's for tax professionals, but the ones that we care about here mostly are individuals, sole traders, and companies. Okay, so if you're a company, so registered company, register under a company. If you're an individual or a sole trader, register under an individual. Now, if you do happen to get them backwards or mixed up, don't worry, just contact an officer through the system and they'll be able to assist you. But and please let me know if there are any questions after this session on which one you should use. And I should also mention, and I was going to at the end, but there are guides and video guides for everything I'm showing you today. So don't think that you have to write all this down or try and remember it. You can simply have a look at the guide later on. So for this example, I've just clicked on the company account. So I'm registering a company. It's a 3-step process. So I just need to enter my personal details. Okay, so the details of the natural person using the MyIRC account. Now, the company owner doesn't necessarily have to be the one registering the account. Okay, so you can have a secretary or someone else. If that's your scenario, you can actually do that. We've set up for that. But typically speaking, if it's a company director should register the account. So put in your first name, last name. Whoops, skipped ahead. Your taxpayer details. So all we need is your TIN. It'll fill out your taxpayer name automatically. Now, your TIN information must be valid. Okay, so the system will not actually let you continue unless the TIN number you enter is unless it's valid. Now, if you have registered a TIN before and you don't know your TIN, it's just a matter of getting in contact with the IRC. Okay, if you've lost it or for whatever reason, you just need to get in touch with them and find that out. Okay. Now, the other details are just your billing details, okay? So for example, when you're making a payment through the online system, we will need some sort of billing information, your address information to make that receipt out to, okay? Because sometimes people pay from entities that aren't necessary, they're paying on behalf of other entities, so we need to know that information. So that's a pretty basic billing name, for address, and there's only 6 fields there, and then country, which you're registered. So once you are registered, you'll be asked to confirm your email address. You click on the activation link, and once you're activated, this is your MyIRC portal. This is your dashboard. Okay. Now I'm not going to go over absolutely everything that you're seeing, but Some of the really amazing things that we can do with the MyIRC system is send you notifications to yourself, ones that are personalized to yourself, the only ones that you care about, okay? And so once you log into your portal, you can see all of the notifications that are relevant for you. In the future, that might be if something is due, if there's an issue with one of your filings, if there's an issue with one of your payments, if for whatever other reason we need to contact you, we can actually send you messages directly to your dashboard. So again, this MyIRC account is all about your window, your portal into the IRC and access to your information. Okay, so all of the information that you see is your information because you've created it. Okay. So I can just see at the bottom there, I can see some of the recent payments I've made for my demonstration, and I can actually see I've got a couple of items that are in my payment basket, which means that I can actually pay for multiple things at the same time if I want online. So I want to take you through the payment process to show you how easy it is. Okay, so I'm going to click on make a payment. Now, it's not quite as easy as 1, 2, 3, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to collect the type, a bit like the 3 T's, but we're collecting the type of tax you want to make a payment on. We're collecting for any details, then we're collecting your billing information, and then we're collecting your payment information at the end. Okay, so pretty straightforward. So the first step, okay, is the tax you want to pay. And sorry, this isn't interactive, but from that drop down, you will select whether it's salary and wages, whether it's GST, whether it's SBT. It will all just show in the drop down. You tell the system what you're wanting to pay, and it'll say thank you very much, and it'll take you to the next screen. So this example, I've selected salary and wages. Okay, this is a monthly based payment. So I'm going to select the period, the year period. So it's, whether it be this year, 2022, and August or September, and any comments or notes I need to put on that, and then the assessment number. If I have an assessment number, most things are accompanied or have an assessment prior to the payment. So that's where you would enter that. And of course, you need to enter the TIN information of the entity that you're making that payment on behalf of. So those are sort of those 3 T's. Well, the first 2 anyway. The tax type. What was the other one? The TIN. Yeah, that's right. So we've got the first 2, right? And we're going to get to the next stage too. So the system does this all automatically for you. You just tell it what you want. So you select the dates from the drop down. And so the third step is selecting your preferred payment type. So Caroline's gone over some of the other payments that are external of MyIRC, such as the bank transfers and things like that. But what I said earlier is if you want instant payments, so instant receipt, and I mean instant, like you get it straight away, MyIRC allows that. And the type of cards that we support, okay, any bank in the world, okay, whether it be BSP, Kina Bank, ANZ, Westpac here, that give you a MasterCard, a Visa card, and I'm not talking credit cards, I'm just talking with the symbol there, China Union Pay cards, and also, pretty excitingly, we also accept local cards such as the MyBank MyCard, the Kina Bank Handy Card, and the ANZ Bank Card. And I'm certain in the near future, we will also be able to accept Kundu cards online as well. But that's basically, we accept every single card in PNG except for the Kundu card right now, but that will be coming in the future, I'm sure. Okay, and I'll answer any questions on that later on. Once you're ready to make that payment and you've got your card out on the couch or whatever it might be, you just enter your name. If for anyone who's done online shopping before, but if this is new to you, it's just a matter of literally reading your card and the details on that card. So you'll have a name on the card, you'll have a card number, you'll have a card expiry, and you'll have a CVC or a CVV depending on the card, and then you just click pay. And as soon as you click pay, it usually takes about 1 or 2 seconds, you will receive a payment successful or a payment declined. Now, payment decline can happen for a number of reasons. If you try and pay us with no money in your account, it's not going to come through, obviously. So you need to make sure you've got money in the account. And banks can also block payments for a number of reasons, which are, again, outside of our control. They might think some fraud or something's happening on your card as well. So if you do get errors, if you do receive a payment decline, it'll tell you why it declined, okay? And if you ever need any help with that, please get in touch with the IRC team, and we'll assist you in getting that resolved. But in this example, successful payment, took a couple of seconds, and I can download my receipt immediately. Not only are you seeing a button that says download receipt straight away, but a few other things have happened as well. So I've been behind the scenes. I would have been emailed the receipt. So again, that email is very important because we send you all of the receipts. So you'll have a copy of that receipt in your email address. You can download a copy of the receipt right now. And you're also going to have a copy of that receipt permanently available in your MyIRC account as well. Okay, so the last couple of days, IRC have been talking about record keeping and things like that. Always critical to keep your own records, especially physical copies where possible. But in the case that you make a submission online or a payment through MyIRC, you can always come back and access this information if you do happen to lose it, if there's a flood or something like that and you lose those documents. You don't even need to go back and ask IRC. You can actually log into your MyIRC account and re-download that. And that's exactly what this page is here, sorry. That's payment history, okay? So I can see all of the payments I've made for the whole of time on my account right here, and I can view those. And I think the next screen is I can re-download the receipt and I can find out all of the information, when I paid that, how much I paid, what I paid for, that sort of thing. This is fantastic because it eliminates any scenario where the IRC might say we didn't receive a payment, or you might say, no, I sent you a payment, but this eliminates any back and forth like that. This record is the single source of truth. So it means that if you see this record on your account, so do IRC. Okay, very, very powerful. Very different to normal banking, I guess. So again, this is just another form of payment, but it is one that we do recommend because it provides you with that that record keeping from end to end. Okay, and if I have an inquiry on that payment, I'll go back and I'll show you if I have a particular concern about that payment, or if I've paid it on the wrong, for whatever reason, I've paid it on the wrong period or the wrong tax type, I can just submit an inquiry directly from the payment into the system, and the IRC officers will get back to me on that. Okay. All right, so one of the most exciting features, especially for IRC and the technical team and the lodgement team there, is being able to, the last couple of days you talked about filings and things like that, being able to actually submit those documents online, okay? So not having to go into an office to submit those, or whatever it might be. You can actually submit those directly through your MyIRC account, which allows you to manage the process end to end. Currently, if you submit them via email, you don't get regular updates. Well, that changes with lodgements or e-filings online. Okay, and you're actually one of only a very few groups in PNG to see the online lodgement process. So I must stress that this process is currently not online right now. We're in a trialing phase with a small group of companies and individuals around PNG, but this is coming very, very soon, okay, being turned on for the whole of the country. So my submissions from my IRC. So again, this is my account portal. I've logged in. I'm just having a look at my recent 4 submissions. I can see one of those was submitted this morning, actually. lodgement received. The second one down, awaiting an IRC reply. The third one down, lodgement received, and the fourth one down, all the way at the bottom, is under review from the IRC. So it actually gives you a real-time status as to what's happening with your filing. Okay. Again, this is putting the power in your hands. Okay, rather than having to follow up with things and call or email and wait for a reply, you can actually just log in, and again, you can do this on your mobile phone and check out the status straight away. Very, very powerful. So let's talk about submitting your documents. Okay, so this process is the same or very similar to the payment process. It's a 4-step process again. But rather than collecting your billing details, we're going to collect your documents instead. So the first thing, just like payments, we need to collect what you're filing for. Okay, what it is you're submitting. The tax types, what it's related to. So the category of the lodgement will be tax, SWT, whatever it might be. The forms, whether it be an S2 form for salary and wages, an S3 form, all the way through to CR1 forms. The whole. I think there's almost 82 different things that you can submit at the moment through this platform. But once you've entered your, and I'll just go back a slide. Sorry. Once you've categorized what you want to submit, the next stage is you actually submitting those documents. Okay, so nothing changes with what we've been talking about the last couple of days with those forms. You take those forms and you're going to upload them into your MyIRC portal. Okay, so there's no printing them out or anything. You can upload them directly on the website. There are no limitations to the amount of documents, or really, you can upload any standard documents, whether it be an image, a PDF, whatever it might be, as long as it's legible and the standard form that the IRC, whether it be the Excel form or the PDF form, we can accept it through this website. And you can upload as many things you want at a time. So once you've selected those documents, it's just a matter of confirming your submission. So all of the documents that you're saying you uploaded. For this example, I've got 3 files that I'm sending to the IRC as part of my lodgement, and I can see my taxpayer information down the bottom there, Citizen Tax Co, and there's my address information. Again, all of this information is automatically filled out for me because my account already has that information on it. So with the current forms, it just streamlines that process. So once, and it really is this simple, for a lodgement, it should only take, after your first 1 or 2 goes at this, it should only take 2 minutes to submit something. Very, very simple. Again, this is the linking of yourselves and what we've been talking about over the last couple of days when it comes to those forms and filings, how to most effectively get that into the hands of the IRC. This will become the most effective and quickest way and the most accountable way, so that you guys can keep track, everyone, and from tax agents all the way down to individuals and sole traders, you can keep track of your documents. Okay, and so once your lodgement is successful, again, instantly you get a confirmation that the IRC has received that. Okay, instantly. So if you don't get a confirmation, it means the IRC has not received it. Okay. At the moment, sometimes you may send your lodgements through the lodgement email. There are rare scenarios where you don't get replies, or it might be delayed or something like that, and that can actually cause people to resubmit documents, especially when there are due dates. Perfectly understandable. If I don't hear a reply for a couple of days or a day, then I'm going to send it again. And then unfortunately that leads to double workflows and things like that. The online system, again, eliminates that entirely, 100% elimination. So once this is online, I do encourage everyone to give this a go. And what it means is that once you've submitted it, you get your unique lodgement ID, you get your confirmation. And one of the most amazing things is, if there is any further information required on that particular submission, you can communicate within that submission directly with officers from the IRC. Okay, so there's a lot more in this webpage than what you're seeing, but at the top there, I can see the lodgement status, and it's awaiting the IRC's reply. Okay, the lodgement type, I've submitted an S2 monthly remittance, and now most lodgements come in without a hassle, But say there is an example where you submit a lodgement and you miss a bit of detail, or you've done a calculation incorrectly, or you've missed a signature field. Okay, these things can happen. Okay, traditionally it's been a bit of a hassle going back and forward and getting those documents corrected, but with the MyIRC system, an officer can actually contact you directly in that lodgement. You will receive a notification. Okay, so you don't have to be logged in to MyIRC. You'll actually be sent an email that says an officer has sent you a message and needs your response effectively, and you can respond directly to the email, or you can come into MyIRC and respond here. And this example that I've got up on the screen is just a typical scenario where an officer from the IRC saying, you've missed a signature field, or you've missed a field and we need a bit more information. And then all you have to do is resubmit that file within the lodgement, and it's super simple. Okay, you don't need to resubmit that through email or anything. You just put it in the same lodgement ID that was the initial one. So yeah, very exciting for lodgements. But I do need to stress that it's currently in the trialing phase and it's not public to everyone. So you will see a lodgement button on your MyIRC portal. However, it's not currently active. It's in rollout phase. But let's talk about when it is going to be online, though. Now, we're trying to get it online as fast as possible for lodgements, but effectively it is going through the trialing phase. We're gathering feedback. This is a feedback-based system where we're developing it based on both internal and external feedback from both large taxpayers, individual sole traders like yourselves, small businesses, large businesses, basically the whole country. And just so everyone's aware, this is a homegrown solution. This solution was made specifically for IRC. So it's made with all of the uniqueness of PNG and all of the issues surrounding regional access to things. The whole idea of this is to make it easier. Again, going back to the things that you've covered off on the last 2 days, the whole idea is MyIRC makes it easier to perform all of those actions and really try and be that front counter where you don't have to physically go in to a business house or whatever it might be. So general availability of lodgements is coming. I can't give an exact time frame, but it will be soon. We're always working on simplifying the system. So once you get in there, and if you find something is hard to use, please get in touch. We've got dedicated people responsible for feedback. If there is something that is confusing or hard to use, or you'd like to see something else, you'd like to, it'd be great to see this feature, or if you, even things like if you don't like the color of a button, if it's an aggressive color or something, let us know. We'll fix it for you. So simplification of managing multiple entities. TINs, again, probably not so relevant for these sessions, but in the case that you are managing multiple entities, multiple TIN numbers, our system does actually allow for that sort of thing and makes it very easy for you to manage multiple entities using one login. So that's coming soon. Tax agent features, again, not so relevant. Further automation, process improvements, that's on the IRC's end. So the more people that start utilizing this system, the more IRC will be able to refine their back of house processes. So these are all very, very time consuming things. Remembering that while it might seem simple just to allow submission of documents online, it's really not. There is so much that needs to happen behind the scenes and internally from a process perspective. And not only we're talking about Port Moresby, we've got to make this work out everywhere in PNG. So, but the more people that use this system, the more feedback that we get, the more we can streamline things, the faster things will get over time. That is just a natural progression of these systems. As I said earlier, multiple different tax tools, okay? Not all of us can afford to have a UB accountant or whatever it might be. Again, we do recommend you have a tax professional for anything complicated, but the idea is the IRC will make available simple tax calculators for everyone to use, okay? Whether that be salary and wages, GST, whatever it might be. we're going to put those tools online for you to access. Okay, so all of those calculations that you've been going over the last couple of days, you will have those physical documents that you can always refer to, but we're going to give you an interactive calculator that you can do that in real time on the website as well. So they're going to roll out in phases over the next couple of months as well. And then towards the bottom, we just talked about EFT and check through the MyIRC system, but I can't say too much about that, but basically it'll just streamline integrating multiple payment channels. So it means that all of the payments, the bank transfers and things like that Caroline was talking about earlier, you'll be able to do all of that through, you'll be able to you'll have visibility over all of that from your MyIRC account. Okay, so pretty exciting. So how do you stay updated? So these sessions, I'm not too sure how regular they're going to be, but you can stay up to date because our team of 15 or so, we always make sure that everyone understands what's going on in the system, what to expect next. Okay, so if you go to MyIRC, irc.gov.pg at the moment, and you go to the MyIRC updates section, you'll actually see what we're going to be launching soon. Okay, so whether that be lodgements coming online, whether it be a new tax calculator. So we try and keep you in the loop as much as possible. Now, we cannot guarantee anything. Again, land of the unexpected. So there are some things that we do put dates on things that we can, okay? Things that we're certain of. There are some things that might be more variable in nature, and we'll just put a time frame for that. But we're trying our hardest to get as much, if the question, and again, the next page is, sorry, I'll skip that. But basically, it comes down to feedback from you guys, okay? It's really critical that if you want to get involved with this, if you've got some feedback, let us know. So from this page, you can click on have your say button, okay? And that'll take you directly to the feedback page. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. The IRC staff love, and especially people who are dissatisfied with the system are always the majority when they're submitting things. But if you have something good to say, the IRC team loves to hear about that sort of stuff. It keeps them motivated, lets them know they're on the right track. And we do receive a lot of that as well. But when it comes to constructive feedback, if you have any of that, please, I do encourage everyone, once you've played around with the system, you've dove in, you've seen how it is. If you've got any issues at all, please let us know. And if it's something that we can fix up, we'll get it done as fast as we can. All right, so in summary, I said earlier about the video guides, everything that I've covered today, and the entire MyIRC system, from finding information all the way through making payments, lodgements, modifying your billing information. And there's a lot of other functionality that we haven't touched off on today. So, for example, if you do get a tax agent in the future or someone to represent yourself for tax purposes, you can also link them directly on your MyIRC account. So there's lots of advanced functions that we haven't gone over today because it's sort of primarily focused on the payment side. But the video guides and the paper-based guides and the digital guides, are available on the website anytime for you to download, have a look at, okay? And again, if there is anything confusing that you don't understand, please let us know so we can provide you more content and make it more understandable. So we're making it easier than ever for SMEs, individuals, sole traders to get involved with the system. This system benefits everyone, probably equally, but maybe even more so the individuals and the sole traders and the small businesses that can't afford, as a sole trader or an individual or a small company, one of the biggest assets you have is time. And if you're spending a lot of that time submitting documents, or not the filling out of documents, but having to then muck around with submitting and stuff like that when you can just do it online quickly, that time is money. So again, you benefit from that saving of time. Processing time reduction, as I said, internally, IRC are always working on increasing the speed of things. We always wish that things could be done overnight or quickly, but the reality is that we're working as hard as we can to increase sort of that cycle time or time for processing. MyIRC will also be updated quite frequently. Okay, so what you see today is not what you might see tomorrow, might not be what you see the next day. Okay, so again, that comes back to that feedback side of things. Get involved, let us know what you want to see, let us know what you're having issues with. The foundations are now in place for an accessible system, effectively countrywide, anywhere outside of, anywhere with reception can now access this system. Okay, and stress that online lodgements will be available soon, hopefully in the next couple of months. Don't hold me to that, and additional payment methods as well. So one of the questions, because I was listening into some of the streams the other day, I know one of the ladies asked about, when can I do this online or when can I do that online? Because you've got payments online, why not TIN registration, and why not COC applications, and why not that, why not this? The simple answer is, and the answer is the same. It eventually will all become accessible online through the portal. Okay, but again, it all comes down to tackling some of the biggest things first, and knowing that things, while they might seem simple on the surface, often take a phenomenal amount of time of restructuring behind the scenes to accommodate that. Because there's no point just putting something online if it's going to take the same amount of time to process as the legacy or the old process. So just rest assured that that is all on the roadmap in the future. No timelines for it, but eventually that's obviously where it will all go at the end. So I'm happy to take any questions related to what I've spoken about, anything to do with the other Caroline side, obviously.
Thank you, Jason and Caroline. We are excited. We are happy. IRC is finally listening to us. Good plan. I will take strictly three for now. Probably comments. I think the presentations are very clear, MyIRC is relatively new, but I'll allow questions to go for Jason especially. With MyIRC, as much as possible, we'd like you to know about this platform, and we can summarize Caroline's presentation. So questions for Jason, 2-3 questions directed to him.
Thank you, Jensen and your team for coming up with a very brilliant creation on the portal. But it's for the sake of efficiency and the accessibility of that information to be relayed to the remote people, rural people to access that. That's good. But the question that I like to highlight is please scare the taxpayers here. It's regarding the protection side, the integrity of the protection side of it, otherwise it becomes a public material. So what is the integrity on the protection of the user there, especially in the filling of the paper and the transaction that is taking place? And second is the external threats that comes. We're talking about accountability here. Thank you.
Sorry, could you just repeat the second question, sorry?
The external threats that comes into attacking.
Absolutely. So all cyber. So cybersecurity is the single most important thing with any digital system, beyond a doubt. Like, it is number one on every single thing that the IRC do. So Commissioner General Sam Combs has talked about the digitalisation strategy of the IRC, and so one of the key pillars of digitalisation with any system, is how do you do that securely? So our system, so MyIRC, this isn't indicative of all the systems in IRC, but MyIRC specifically, is hosted and in control within Amazon Web Services. AWS, for those who don't know, are the world's largest by a substantial margin cloud provider. One of the most secure cloud vendors in the world. Without a doubt. And so when we're designing our systems, security is always number one. above anything else, above security, above performance, above anything else. Security is all number one. So we have multiple checks and balances internally and externally. So we both have third parties that check our systems for that do what they call penetration testing, and we have internal practices and processes, whether that be international cybersecurity standards, whether it be system and organizational controls, SOC2, or it might be a payment card, it might be a banking industry standard such as the PCI DSS, the payment card standard. Banks enforce this for processing scheme cards and things like that, or it might be other standards that the PNG government put on government services like DCIT mandate in the future. So we every single step of the way, the information that is put onto our platform, it is your information, it is your data, and we will keep that secure. And we have multiple layers. Trying to not get too technical, but basically there are multiple things that we do actively, defensively, and proactively that secure our systems at all levels in the organisation, from little things like accessing information is with physical keys, multi-factor authentication, all this sort of stuff. So it makes sure that your data remains very secure at all times. But if you have any, and again, I don't know if this is the right place for it, but if you have any specific questions on that, like if you want to get into more detail, please contact the IRC, and I'm sure they'd be more than willing to give you a bit more of a rundown. Does that answer some of your questions? Yeah.
Thank you, Jace. I think that's very clear. We'll take one last one from the front.
Thank you, Jason, for that presentation. And this is exciting times we are in, and we will take this country digitally so that we can remove some of those legacy systems that exist in terms of businesses moving forward. Okay, I'm trying to ask you, if I build a company where I need to verify TIN from my users, should I use the IRC portal to check if the user that submit his copy of his TIN actually exists in the system? Can it handle that?
Absolutely. You can use that.
Good. And I believe your portal system is still in the development and testing phases, and some digital infrastructures are probably absent in this country, I believe. So many of those features will take time to develop. And I hope, like you said, data security is very important for us, because the TIN information that we submit, we also submit some of our private information also. And like you said, AWS, and yes, that gives us that comfort. And I believe we're okay with that. Secondly, when we submit those inquiries and those documents, we upload. And you say we can take it in Excel format or in PDF format. That also depends on the method that we are uploading. Some people may have no access to like scan or copiers to scan those documents which they need to sign. And I hope IRC can provide those solutions for many of our people. Otherwise, TODs and data will run out of scan machines, And yeah. And on that note, the lady was talking about the problems that her division is facing with those payments that come from the bank, and they don't know how to identify whether that payment is for SWTS or for whatever. That's what she was talking about. And I believe your portal, as time goes by, you can solve her problem.
It does.
Yes, so that IRC can efficiently save all of us, and we can move forward. But this is a very good system, and I know that it's scalable, and we can be able to move it forward. One thing I personally, because after that IRC portal was launched and announced by the Prime Minister, a few days, 2 or 3 weeks after that, I got registered on that, and I got an email also, and I wanted to log in. I logged in and went in, and then a couple of things that I tried, and it didn't work all right, so I sort of gave up using that.
Let us know your
Yeah,
feedback if you're
yes.
having difficulty. Contact one of us
Yes,
so we
so,
can help you out.
Yeah. So I faced some of those problems, but you raised it up, so I understand that things we need to build and fix the bugs as we go along.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that finally we've got this thing going on, and I hope other departments in a country like IPA and others can also adopt this type of digital transformation so that we can move forward in this country. And it's a great news for us taxpayers and for the business community to know that we have a system now been built to serve our interests 24/7 and securely. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jace. We had one question from our virtual viewers that also asked through virtually with regards to Caroline's presentation, and that was, where does the bill code 11628 come from? So that, 11628, if you are using the bill pay system to pay to the IRC, that number was given by the bill pay system. So that is our billing code. That's the billing code for the IRC. So that is in response to one of the questions from our virtual viewers. So again, not only us in this room, our viewers are also watching virtually. Again, exciting times, sir. Exciting times. So IRC indirectly is trying to, encourage you, grow. Do not limit yourselves. Do not limit your business. The options are there. So you should have no excuse, no reason to say, you're not filing, you're not paying on time. In the past, some times ago, maybe you could say, but now we are giving you the options, and the options, like they've presented already. When you may have, your traditional method of making your payments or payments to your supplier, of which, IRC is one of payments to the IRC in terms of taxes. You may be so accustomed to the use of raising bank checks and the use of your Kundu cards and your Visa debit cards. But as you can see, there's a whole lot of other methods that you can utilize for your small business. So if you are having lunch somewhere at Vision City and it's due date, you don't have to come to the IRC. Save some money that you're paying for your lunch. Please pay your taxes while you're having your lunch there. So we're giving you those options. After this session, and when we go into break for lunchtime, we'll have our counterparts from the banks also do their presentations, and I'm sure it will be tailored to your needs. When you go to the banks, you can go rausi manita solnakam. Ask them, ask those SME officers, what other options are there that may be suitable for my business? How can I go into that space? Register my business for internet banking. If I have internet banking due to internet issues, what are the other alternatives that I can pay my taxes so that bridges can be built? My children can still, get education. Before going into the break, I think I'll also make another clarification. We had in the last GST presentation, one of our countrymen or women from Manus indicated or asked a question about the PMIZ, free tax and trade in Manus province. Now, that is still under, we know the government has identified zones that, within the country that it would like to create free trade zones. In the space of tax, no, there is no exemption. Our good people from Manus are still paying their taxes like everyone else, so there is no exemption there. So just to clarify. With that, again, I'd like to say thank you to the presenters and all of you. We'd be around. We now can take a break for lunch. Kindly wait outside and have, again, we've brought afternoon tea forward so you can also have lunch with us. And when we conclude for the afternoon, we go straight home. I think we've gone, it's 1:45. So we resume back at 1:45. 1:45. Please strictly observe the 1 hour, and we can come back and conclude. All right. Thank you.